Have you ever experienced something that made you think you might have a guardian angel? I have. Stay tuned.
Can I get a hoo-ah?
There was a United States Army soldier in the Republic of Panama. I was a young lieutenant. It was the weekend, and I had worked hard all week, and I was ready to go fishing. I needed some time off. So, I was a platoon leader at the time, and I had some friends of mine in my unit. And I wanted to go fishing, but nobody was available on that particular weekend. Usually we'd roll out 4, 5, or 6 of us, go catch a whole mess of fish. And if any of you have been ever down to, have you ever been down to Panama fishing in Gatun Lake, which is the lake that the Panama Canal transits when you're crossing the isthmus, they have probably some of the world's best fishing. It's unbelievable. They have this species of fish called the peacock bass. Huge fish. It's actually in the family of the smallmouth bass, but in its size, it's as big as our big mouth bass that we have in the U.S. and way bigger. And they call them the sargento fish because sergeant in Spanish is sargento. And this fish has 3 black stripes on its back, just like in the military, a sergeant has 3 stripes, so they call them sargento. Anyway, they're beautiful. They're green on top, and they have like orange in the gills and white. They're just a very beautiful fish. Strong fighting fish, very aggressive. You use topwater lures, and when they hit that, it's like Jaws. When they come, plow, their mouths are huge. They come up and use these big lures that are like 6 or 8 inches long with treble hooks on them. And when they hit, man, they'll give you a great fishing experience. So anyway, they're also very aggressive. So the story goes that you could put a piece of straw, like a white and red piece of straw about 1 inch long, slit it down the length, pop it on an empty hook and throw it in the water. Within 3 casts, if there's any fish there, they'll hit it. That's no joke. They're probably one of the most aggressive fishes I've ever seen, and they're very territorial. And you can catch hundreds within an hour or two. If you hit a good spot, they're everywhere. And they're strong and mean. They'll hit it. And they're very good too. When you cook them, grill them, fry, whatever. Very popular fish. And the Americans, when we were stationed down there, when we still had bases, very popular pastime was fishing within the back coveys of the Panama Canal. So, in order to do that, you need bait. So I usually would use lures, but I had agreed. One of the platoon sergeants in my unit had asked me to take his teenage son with him. And so I said, yeah, sure. So I took him, and he wasn't necessarily as skilled at fishing with lures as I was. So I said, you know what, we need live bait. So let's catch some minnows, which are the little bitty bait fish. So I grabbed my bait casting net, which is a nylon net with little lead weights all the way around it in a circle with little floaties, and you make a circle and you toss it out in the water, and that's how you catch minnows to put on your hook. So we went down to this place called Miraflores Locks, which is across the street from Quarry Heights. No, not Quarry Heights. What's it called? Clayton base that was down there in Panama. So right across the street from that is the actual canal, and one of the locks, one of the most famous locks where the ships transit through the canal is Miraflores Locks. So we go down there over a bridge. We cross some little parking areas, and we go down to a spillway. So the way that canals work, if you can imagine, you've got a lake that's at one level and you've got the ocean at another. And what they do is they have these big King Kong sized doors that open up on one side. A ship goes in, they close the doors behind it, then they open valves from the other side and allow water to come in, which then raises the boat to the same level as the lake, or drops it. I can't remember which one it is in which direction. And then what it does is it opens the King Kong doors, and then the boat can transit through. And Panama's perfect for this because it's the thinnest point in Central and South America, and it has a huge annual rainfall. So there's always tons of fresh water coming into the lake that they can allow to drain out to let these ships transit the canal. At any rate, there are spillways on the side that as the ships transit through, the water equalizes in and out. These spillways are about the size of, I don't know, 2 or 3 lane road, gravel on the sides, concrete barriers about 3-4 feet up, and then there's hills where there's dirt and grass that go up to the regular ground level where the roads and the bridges are. So I get this great idea. This young man, teenager, he's probably about 15 at the time. He and I go park the truck, and he waits at the truck. I said, hey, hang on a second. I'm just going to go down to the bottom of the hill with this bucket and this net. I'm going to throw it in the water, and I'm going to catch 100, 200 minnows that we'll use for bait. So I walk to the edge of the street, and I get right to the edge of the grass. You know, this is the jungle, so it's humid. There's water everywhere. There's moisture on the grass, so it's wet in the morning, condensation. So I happened to be wearing shorts that day, and I had some black, flat-soled Adidas indoor soccer shoes on. For whatever reason, I popped those on that day, and they don't have very good treads on the bottom. They're very smooth. They're made for indoor soccer. They don't have spikes or anything. They're just flat kind of on the bottom. Not a whole lot of support, but and actually I don't even know why I had those shoes on that day, but I had those. So I took one step from the concrete gravel area onto the grass, which sloped down to the edge of the spillway. And there was grass probably 4, 5, 6 inches tall. I took one step and off I went. Both my feet, when they hit the grass, it was like I was skiing. When you go down on a slope with snow, it just slipped down the hill. So it's wet grass, and I'm upright, and I go shoo, and I slide about 15, 20 feet right down to the bottom, and I hit the final edge. It's a concrete berm, maybe 4 inches wide, that drops down about 3 feet to the gravel and the water's edge. Right down the hill, and I hit the bottom, and I start doing one of these numbers. Whoa. You know how when your arms spin where you're about to lose your balance? And my body teeters over the edge. My feet hit the concrete, and that's where I stop, and my body leans forward. And right as I lean forward and I'm doing one of these numbers, I look down, and man, there was about a 14, 15 foot crocodile right there, about 3 feet away from me, below me, and it had its mouth open, because you know that's how they sun themselves, when they absorb heat. Its mouth was wide open, and I was literally 3 feet. I could almost, if I reached down, I could almost touch him. But he was right below that berm, and his body was already in the water halfway, and his head was out. So it was like this, and I was above him. And I'm teetering, and again, slow motion. Light flashes before me. This is it. I'm about to die, because I just know I'm gonna fall right off that edge and right into his mouth. And as I'm leaning forward, I kid you not, it gives me goosebumps when I think about it. I kid you not, it felt like there was a finger that grabbed my belt or my waistband and pulled me backwards towards the land, towards the hill. Like literally, if you could imagine, like it just pulled me back. I regained my composure. I was vertical now and no longer in fear of falling into the water. And my eyes registered again on this alligator, crocodile. Actually, down there they have these things called caimans, which is a species of the reptile. It's like a crocodile. And I said, man, I'm not doing that. Changed my mind. I turned around and I ran back up that hill, and I jumped in the truck. I said, hey kid, I'm sorry, man, we're not going fishing today. I just can't do it. I went home, and I just had to sit down and have a beer, and thank God that I didn't fall on top of that crocodile, because he would have got me. Even if he was not hungry, the reaction would have been, he would have probably grabbed me and rolled me in the water right there, and I would have died. And I'm older now. I'm a big dude, but back then I was a small guy. I was, you know, military. You're fit, you're in shape, very skinny and strong, but I wasn't that big to where I could have fought off a gator of that size. He would have torn me to bits, and I wouldn't be here right now. But that was a miracle. That was a miracle. No joke. It happened to me. I saw it. I almost fell on top of a reptile, a freaking dinosaur, and something pulled me back. And it wasn't that kid, because he was up in the truck and there was nobody else around me. I remember as I came back, I kind of felt like, whoa, somebody saved my life, and I was going to turn around and say thank you, but there was nobody there. It was just me. So it happened. This world is strange. Let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe, and hit me up down below in the comments if you have a question, or if you want me to read your story. You can hit me up at storytipline@gmail.com. Storytipline@gmail.com. Spartan Commander, out.
Charlie, don't surf! Convoy of PCRs with dealer 5-5.